Some Bastrop homeowners say their homes may have been spared from the flames, but they're really worried about flare-ups. However, they came up with a plan to take care of that, and Lisa Lee Kelly is joining us now from Bastrop, Tahitian Village to be exact, to tell us more about that. What were they planning, Lisa? They were forced out, and a lot of them didn't know if they would have a home to return to. Katie Stolp is covering that end of things for us today and has the very latest from Steiner Ranch now. Katie?
If you're not ready for some football already, we're going to get you ready over the next hour because we have taken the show on the road today out here to Quattro's, which is in West Campus, just a stone's throw away from the University of Texas. I'm down here covering a tropical storm. I don't have a drop of water on me. So what happened here? Well, we'll turn it over to Chief Meteorologist Troy Kimmel back there in the studio to try to explain this one. A strange one tonight, Troy.
It is. I like how you say it, Jason, the dud that Don was.
We just got some really bad news in our ears out here. We had hoped that we wouldn't be reporting this, but we are now told that there are fatalities in this fire out here in Bastrop County. We suspected that that might be the case as firefighters and emergency personnel were able to get into the areas that have burned and start going house to house. We do not have the full information at this point. We are waiting for an update on that here in the next few minutes, and we will bring you those details as soon as we get them. We sure hate to report that, though, this afternoon. We are continuing our special coverage now of the wildfires here in Central Texas. Some big news. Hopefully firefighters are going to have a lot more help out there in Bastrop County come tomorrow morning. That's it right there. A DC-10 expected to be up in the air. These planes capable of dropping 12,000 gallons of fire retardant at a time. KITV's Lydia Pantazis is live at the state capitol tonight and was there as they delivered those letters today. A bunch of them too, Lydia. Test this out. I'm wearing an iced tea minus the ice right now. It doesn't have the ice packs in it. I've also connected that, you can see that right there. That is a thermometer inside the shirt. And we're taking a lovely walk on this beautiful blacktop surface in this blistering heat out here in the middle of the afternoon. I'm starting out at 98 degrees. We're going to walk for 3 minutes and just see what I get to. And we are getting a live update right now on the Steiner Ranch fire where 24 homes were lost. Let's go to the podium right now out there and take a listen. The American Red Cross served its final meal to the Bastrop fire victims today, turning over the recovery operation now to other groups. But some people are asking tonight, did the Red Cross do enough to help the fire victims? We're going in depth tonight with Lisa Lee Kelly, live from Red Cross headquarters in East Austin. Lisa? Again, 1,386 homes lost there in Bastrop, and as Hunter was alluding to, that number is probably going to go up. They've been saving structures here these past couple of days. They've made a lot of progress, but they still haven't been able to really get in there and assess all of these neighborhoods. We're shrinking into the website. Get everything you need right there at weareaustin.com. Ron, bees are directly responsible for a lot of the food that we eat, so when they are starving to death, it certainly isn't a good thing for any of us, and it has definitely been happening this summer.
The Snow Beach shaved ice trailer has been abuzz with business this blistering summer.
And it's $5 altogether.
But it's not just heat-weary humans who've been swarming the stand. Bees by the hundreds have become fixtures here, lapping up every drop of syrup they can get. We're told blue raspberry seems to be a particular favorite, but we saw them all over. In fact, we're not even doing them justice. It was hard for our camera to keep up with all the bees, just like it was hard for that poor dog leashed to a nearby table. But those who pour the syrup here know they're there.
I've been stung 4 times this summer.
The bees don't mean any harm. It's just that in most of our crunchy, barren lawns, you couldn't find a colorful flower if your life depended on it, and their lives do depend on it.
They've had no flowers to get nectar from. Nectar makes honey. Honey is what they store, so they'll have something to tide them over for the winter. There is no honey in these hives. They're starving to death.
Now, it's no blue raspberry snow cone, but beekeeper Frank Hunt is lugging in simple syrup.
At this point, we are feeding the bees
55 gallons of the sugar water every day to keep his hives alive. Still, they're dropping like flies.
So those are dead bees.
His bee farm should be more than 1 million strong, but he's down to probably just 8,000 now.
Look at that, just a few bees. That should be covered. They should be coming after us.
Frank says this has put a real strain on the quality and quantity of Texas honey this year, but the much stickier problem is the effect on fruit and vegetable crops, because
they have to be pollinated by bees.
And that, he says, makes these creatures too important to give up on. And so Frank plans to remain as busy as a bee and save as many as he can.
Personally, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to try to feed until I go broke. Anything I've made in years past will probably be absorbed this year, just trying to keep them alive and hoping that they'll do better next year.
Because the saying is, the way the bees go, we go.
And so hopefully things will get better, but the stores of honey that normally get those bees through the winter are almost non-existent in many of the hives that we saw. And so it looks like a tough summer is transitioning into a hard winter to follow. Ron?
We are feeling the very first effects of Tropical Storm Don here on South Padre Island right now at the very tip of Texas. Normally, these beaches would be teeming with weekend visitors, but today, pretty lonely. Just a few stragglers remaining out here. Most of the activity this weekend is just inland from here. Whoever coined that phrase about there being a calm before the storm must not have traveled the road to South Texas as a tropical tempest was fast approaching.
We're doing all we can, but it's not a whole lot. It's a drop in the bucket.
Tammy Burnson is one of many farmers scrambling to snatch up miles and miles of cotton that somehow bloomed in defiance of a withering drought that has strangled this usually crop-friendly valley.
You know, it's frustrating is what it is.
You guys racing all the way to the finish, though?
We're pushing as hard as we can.
The rain Burnson hoped for all year, but that never materialized until now, would be ruinous at this stage, so the picking frenzy is underway, while across the way, grain growers have already surrendered to the stingy skies. So you're already just looking ahead to next year.
Right.
This year's been a bad one.
Right.
Alfonso Chavez is taking a stab at salvaging next year, feverishly plowing this plot so it will absorb as much storm water as possible. Is it pretty dry?
Oh, plenty right. This year maybe raining 2 times, that's all.
It's rained 2 times and that's
Only,
it?
Yeah.
All year?
Yeah.
So this is the best shot you've got?
Right.
For Chavez, Don's deluge is a promise. For Burnson, it's a threat. But both agree that whatever Mother Nature brings hours from now can't be nearly as consequential as what she didn't bring in the months before now. This rain is an unusual sight, even here along the coast, which usually gets its fair share, but it's been bone dry this year. Folks down here not so worried about what this tropical storm will do. In fact, they are worried it might not do enough. On South Padre Island, Jason Wheeler, KITV News. It looks much better back there in the distance, even since we arrived here earlier this afternoon. A lot of the smoke has cleared. That's due in large part to the helicopters that have been ferrying in huge buckets of water to douse the flames out here. In addition to that, a lot of boots out there on the ground right now trying to save each and every single home that they possibly can. We caught up with those fire crews earlier today, and we want you to take a look at some of the work they've been doing. This monster that has charred such a large swath of Bastrop County has been described in terms of miles and thousands of acres. But the fight against it is being measured in yards, front yards and back ones.
We're going to try to get all the grass, everything burned up around the house so we don't have to worry about it igniting later after we leave.
Lot by lot, firefighters are burning lawns before Mother Nature has a chance to.
We came in and changed the plan of the wildfire and made it our fire.
The idea is, if they can blacken the land, or at least clear it, there will be nothing left for a wayward ember to ignite. So many dwellings have already been lost that way.
We'd leave a house that looked perfectly fine, head back up to try and save the next one, and on our way back, the embers would get into the rafters and the eaves, and then it would catch the houses.
Today, much more ground has been gained than yesterday, thanks in large part to these teams that have come here from places like North Texas and California, even Alaska. The land and the conditions here much different than some of the places they come from, but these firefighters from far away know enough about this fire to realize they still have a long way left to go before the homes in this thicket are truly out of the woods. One thing that has helped tremendously today is that the winds have died down greatly. We are still getting a breeze out here though, and it is still very dry. The air very dry out here. Reminds me of my days living out in West Texas. That's how dry it is out here. So firefighters trying to make all the progress they can, worried that possibly those winds might return and make this a huge situation for them all over again.